Hey everybody, welcome back to Mighty Modern. I'm Corbin and this is Claim to Fame Burn. So I'm definitely not a burn player at heart. I'll play Merfolk, it's about as aggressive as I really like to get, but I really couldn't pass up this list because it plays one of my favorite cards out of Hour of Devastation, Claim to Fame. Now this, of course, is a card that everyone thought was going to be busted coming out of the set. 1 mana to return a creature with converted mana cost 2 or less from your graveyard to play, and then another 2 mana to give it +2/0 in haste. So everyone was terrified about 3 mana Death Shadows coming back with +2/0 in haste. But the card's actually not been great in that deck because that deck is already very good at grinding out opponents with a lot of removal, and that's what Claim to Fame does. Claim to Fame doesn't help that deck in the matchups where it needs help. It is, however, quite good in this burn deck. Now, Naya Burn's sort of the go-to in Modern, and that's probably honestly just too boring to play for Mighty Modern. You kind of get how it works. But this is different enough, I think it was worth a shot. So we're just red-black. There's no green to be found. There's no Nakados, no Tarkus Command, no anything. What we are all about is this Claim to Fame here. And that means we're playing some different choices. For instance, Vexing Devil. Now, of course, we already have the Goblin Guides, the Lava Spikes, the Bolts, the Swift Spheres, everything you'd expect. We even have the Bump in the Nights here because we're black is essentially another Lava Spike. But we also have Vexing Devil. When it comes into play, an opponent can take 4 damage or not. If they do, we sacrifice Vexing Devil. If they don't, great, we have a 4/3 for 1 mana. We also have, as you would expect, Eidolons and Searing Blazes and Rift Bolts. Okay, that's fine. But we also have Keldon Marauders. So, when this comes into play, or leaves play, it deals 1 damage to target player, and it's a 3/3 with Vanishing 2. So what that means is it comes into play on your 2nd turn. On your 3rd turn, it goes down to 1 Vanishing counter, and it can attack as a 3/3. Then on your next upkeep, the Vanishing counter will be taken off, and you'll sacrifice it, and hopefully deal them 1 more on the way out. So at its best, it's 5 damage for 2 mana. And it's kind of, more often than not, it's just 2 damage though, because they have something to either kill it or block it or whatever. And that's why it's kind of fallen out of favor. But the calculus changes entirely when you add Claim to Fame. Now all of a sudden it's great for, it's just a card that's sometimes very good, but even when it's mediocre, on turn 4, after it dies, we can return it to play and give it +2/0 in haste. So it's going to deal 2 damage from its entering and leaving, but we also make it in for 5 just on that turn, not to mention the next turn. Also Claim to Fame on Vexing Devil, pretty absurd. They're almost always going to take 4 from Vexing Devil, right? Then whatever, say you play Keldon Marauders on turn 2. Turn 3, Claim to Fame Vexing Devil, all of a sudden they're taking another 4, which means your 1 mana dealt 4 damage, which is pretty good. Or you're attacking them with a 6/3 haster. So that's the deck. It's pretty sweet. It's interesting enough that it got me to play Burn, which is not something I thought would happen on Mighty Modern. Moving on to the sideboard. I guess it's a million 2-drops here, but nothing out of the ordinary. Skullcrack against the life gain, Smash the Smithereens for Affinity and Lantern, Searing Blaze, and Searing Blood for the other creature decks when you want to beat them up, and Reign of Gore. This is possibly my favorite sideboard card in Burn ever. I know maybe it's whatever, it's kind of fallen out of favor because a lot of them don't play red-black. But if a spell or ability would cause its controller to gain life, that player loses that much life instead. Now all of a sudden their Kitchen Finks just wreck them, their Blessed Alliance doesn't do anything, etc., etc. Reign of Gore on turn 2 just means you are almost always going to be able to deal with their sideboard cards. Timely Reinforcements looks really bad against Reign of Gore. So that's the deck. Claim to Fame Burn. I'm excited to see how it goes, not because I enjoy playing Burn, because Lightning Bolt. We did it. Not that there's anything wrong with that, it's just not my style of play. But I do like the idea of catching people unawares, and that's exactly what Claim to Fame does. So let's give it a shot and see how it goes here.